today's news, we'll be taking a look at a situation on Smackdown that may result in a top star getting fired this week. We'll also take a look at Brock Lesnar's reaction to the pairing of Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Let's start things off with this story of a superstar getting fired out of nowhere. This star in question is Adam Pearce. The idea of Adam Pearce getting fired so suddenly came from Paul Heyman. There's a lot going on over at SmackDown right now, with Roman Reigns waiting for the Edge's WrestleMania selection while also finishing up his feud with Kevin Owens. Apparently, the closing moment of SmackDown has Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman absolutely irate with Adam Pearce, and they're calling for his job. Paul Heyman had this to say to Adam Pearce that really jump-started this whole conversation. Here's a bit of inside intel for you. If you're not fired by next Tuesday or Wednesday, then Roman Reigns and I will have the distinct honor and pleasure of watching you get fired live next Friday on SmackDown. You may think that's a bluff. Let me lay it out for you. Edge, under your watch, is pulling everybody's strings. The tail is wagging the dog. Edge manipulating this situation so that everyone has to wait for him to make his answer, to make his decision, is putting you on a direct path to the unemployment line. This Monday night, you will show up on Monday Night Raw, and you will have no choice but to announce a main event for Raw for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. You have no choice but to announce Drew McIntyre's opponent as the Raw main event for the Elimination Chamber. If you don't, Mr. Pearce, you have put yourself in a position that next week you will either be heading towards a major advertising campaign for the main event from Raw at the Elimination Chamber, or you, sir, will be heading straight to the unemployment line. Paul Heyman also talked about how there's someone behind Adam Pearce that's ready and eager to take his job, and that's Sonya Deville. Sonya even responded to Heyman's comments on Twitter with a few emojis, so she's not denying it either. Sonya would love to take it over if Adam Pearce does get fired here in the coming weeks. That was the threat that Paul Heyman made to Adam Pearce. We have to take Heyman's word seriously because we know he has the connections and could actually get Adam Pearce fired if they really wanted to. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns seem to be very frustrated because Edge didn't give them a decision on SmackDown. Roman Reigns is used to having all the power in most situations. He's used to just automatically being in the main event of every show since he's the champion after all. But this is a rare situation where Roman doesn't have the power to be automatically in the main event of WrestleMania. Roman's WrestleMania main event fate actually relies on Edge's decision. That's why Roman and Heyman are so obsessed with Edge's decision. They're aware that they need Edge to select Roman, so that Roman Reigns will get his main event match. If Edge selects any other champion, then that match would be the main event of WrestleMania, and Roman would have to take a backseat. So with all of this being considered, Roman Reigns is desperate for Edge to select him. Like Paul Heyman said, Edge and even Bianca Belair are both teasing everyone and dragging everyone around about their WrestleMania selections. It's only been a few days and everyone is all over the Royal Rumble winners to hurry up and make up their minds. But WWE should definitely stretch it out a bit because there's a lot of time before WrestleMania. So, could you afford to tease their decision for a few more weeks? But Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns don't want to wait any longer for Edge. And if they do have to wait, Adam Pearce will pay the price with his WWE job. So, we'll see how that all turns out. Speaking of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, Heyman was recently asked about what Brock Lesnar's response and feelings were about Heyman aligning himself with Roman Reigns. Heyman had a very Paul Heyman-like answer to that question. He had this to say when asked about what Brock thought. Brock Lesnar would say anything that comes to Brock Lesnar's mind. Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do, which means Brock Lesnar says whatever Brock Lesnar feels like saying. So not exactly the most detailed answer to pull a lot of information from, but there was another recent report going around about Brock Lesnar that was a bit more detailed about Brock's WWE future. Obviously, it's one of those theories that everyone has, but one of the matches on the table for Brock Lesnar's return is a match with Roman Reigns. Obviously, these two are no strangers to each other at all. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns have had a lot of matches together over the last few years. What makes another rematch so intriguing this time around is that so much has changed and there's more drama involved. Obviously, Paul Heyman being one of the factors that makes this match so intriguing. Where does Paul Heyman's loyalty stand at? Paul Heyman has been with Brock Lesnar for nearly Brock's whole WWE career. But as of most recently, Heyman is now close with Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman can only stand in one corner during that match. So everyone wants to know what Paul Heyman would do in the match with Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Does he stick with Roman Reigns, which makes Brock Lesnar upset, or will Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns now that his original guy, Brock Lesnar, has returned? So the Paul Heyman aspect alone makes the match very interesting. Also, the change in Roman Reigns' character makes this matchup with Brock Lesnar feel fresh, because we've never seen this version of Roman go up against Brock Lesnar. It also makes you wonder about Brock's direction for his WWE return. Will Brock Lesnar serve as the big babyface challenger that can actually take Roman Reigns down once and for all? It definitely sounds like a possibility. Even though we've seen Lesnar versus Reigns hundreds of times before, another feud with the two of them does sound like it'll be something special this time around. Would you like to see Brock Lesnar return and instantly come after Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman? Edge has just returned, and he's the 2021 Royal Rumble winner. The reaction to Edge's win has been positive for the most part, but there's a small portion of fans that feel like the Royal Rumble win should have gone to a younger talent. For example, everyone loved the Women's Royal Rumble because the right young and upcoming talent won, and it has already elevated her status immensely in WWE. Some fans feel like winning the Royal Rumble didn't really do much for Edge because he's already well established and has done it before. Some people do have the option that Edge didn't have any business winning that match. Edge recently responded to that backlash from the fans that were saying that, and he had this to say to them. I can't control people's opinions. I can't control if people have ageism issues. What I want to do is come back and tell how the story is told, and tell it with multiple dance partners. If those dance partners can take something from it, that's my goal. What Edge said is true. If you're up there in age, some fans really don't want to see you. They're very dismissive of returns from older superstars, like Goldberg, for example. But Goldberg and Edge are very much different. Fans only have an issue with Goldberg because he appears out of thin air and is instantly the #1 contender for the world titles wherever he decides to show up. Edge entered at #1. He outlasted everyone to earn that spot. And he also has a really good backstory of chasing the title that he never lost since he was forced to relinquish it when he got hurt. So Edge's story is well written up till this point. We'll have to see what's in store for Edge at WrestleMania and what he will do after WrestleMania as well. But what are your thoughts on today's wrestling news stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.